Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I know we've got a lot of people coming in right now, so I appreciate your patience. I know that I do have some people that are struggling to get on. All of the settings have been eradicated so that people can get on. I have just opened it up, so hopefully those that are waiting will be able to join. And it was just the fact that I was 5 minutes late getting on because I was attempting to get all of these issues taken care of. So I'm going to continue to in as I am going through the meeting. Unfortunately, hopefully they'll get in. We are going to go ahead and get started just to honor your time for those of you that were able to attend. Thank you for coming. I'm Angela Schroeder. I have with me Mr. Saramago. He is our principal, obviously, and Mr. Saramago will be speaking to us later.
Good evening, everyone.
After I'm done with the majority of the meeting, we will have Mr. Saramago say a few words and we will go from there. So first of all, I would like to thank you all for coming tonight and let you know that we have roughly about 2 months until the end of your child's senior year. Crazy year it has been, I know, but we made it there. So that's pretty exciting. I have some important dates for you, which I will be posting on Parent Square. I have the 2 important dates that I'm going to mention right now. The first one is on May 12th. We are having an additional senior parents meeting, and that will be to finalize our end of the year information. We're in the middle of April right now, so as much as we want to finalize everything for graduation as well as for all senior activities, we have to wait until the finalized guidelines are down. We did receive guidelines a little bit earlier this week, and last week and the week before. I got a lot of emails about the Galt Herald posted this. Is this really what's happening? Thank you for being patient with us. We wanted to not piecemeal out information, bits and pieces to everyone until it just kind of got blown up out of proportion. We wanted to make sure and talk to you all at once. And that's the reason this meeting tonight, as well as our senior parents meeting again on May 12th at 6:30 at the exact same time. And I will set out another Zoom link of our tech department follow up on this Zoom link to make sure that it works for those of you not utilizing a child's laptop, which it should have worked. I do apologize. My phone is blowing up right now. And once again, the date for that was May. I will go ahead and put that in the chat. I'm just trying to make sure that I have everybody coming in as well. So senior parents follow-up meeting, and there's a hyphen there. I apologize if there is not. As an English teacher, that hurts my heart. And it will be at 6:30 p.m. So I just went ahead and put that in the chat for everybody. So hopefully we'll get that, and I will mention that again later. Our other date that I want to give you right now, I have a couple more as we go through, is May 11th. May 11th, which is before May 12th, obviously. That is our cap and gown distribution. And I will be making sure to post this on Parent Square, but our cap and gown distribution will be on May 11th at 6 p.m. in front of the school. It will be a drive-through cap and gown distribution. So I will bring that up again later, and I will once sure and post that onto Parent Square for you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a few things I also need to talk about. At the next meeting, we are going to have we will have more dates available for you for the last day to pay fines and fees, as well as our laptop and book drop off. That will come at that point. And now I have some information from the counseling department. Ms. is currently out on maternity leave, and Dr. Chavez is helping with students on the caseload. So please be patient with the counseling department. Official transcripts are needed by. So as soon as you know what college we'll be going to, please make sure that you request your official graduated transcripts from Mrs. Cole in the front office. If you are going to a community college in the fall of 2021, you can still sign up if you have not signed up for community college yet. And if you are going to a four-year college in the fall of 2021, the SIR deadline is May 1st. Colleges do charge a fee, so please be aware of that. Also, please continue to check Dr. Chavez's link on the school's website, the College Career Center. There are a number of scholarships that have not had any applicants at all, and there's just free money waiting there. And all of the scholarships, ladies and gentlemen, have criteria. So some scholarships do rely on GPAs, some don't. Some rely entirely on community service, some do not. So please look into those scholarships because once again, that's free money. Making up credits in the online program, Genuity, the deadline for that is 28th. So please make sure that you remember that. Senior grade check, seniors who have a D or an F need to pass in order to meet the requirements for their high school diploma, and or if they are currently making up credits, a letter will be mailed home for these students during the senior grade checks. The first senior grade check is April 30th. Once again, I will be posting all of this for you. Grades will be used for the first senior grade check and finalize the top 10 students. The mid-senior grade check is May 14th, and the final senior grade check is May 28th. If on this date the senior has an F in a course they need to pass in order to meet the diploma requirements, or if they are not done completing the credits they are making up, the student will not graduate. So once again, that is May 28th is the final date for that. So the next thing to talk about is the Texas Roadhouse Dinner. Thank you all so much for the overwhelming response in helping our seniors make money for the Texas Roadhouse Dinner. I've had parents ask me, well, what happened to all of the money that they've made for the last 3 years leading up to this? They really make very little money their freshman year. Their sophomore year, they have a small amount of money that carries them into their junior year. Junior year is the year that they really make the most amount of money to carry them through senior activities with an occasional fundraiser their senior year. But the junior money maker is prom. And unfortunately, last year, your students, as you know, your seniors did not get a prom, and therefore we did not have that fundraising opportunity for them. So our Texas Roadhouse Dinner was the only fundraiser that this class has truly had in the last almost 2 years to help supplement activities for us to do for them. And I really appreciate you guys coming through and supporting our class and buying tickets for your children. I will announce the winner of the donated $50 Visa card on Friday on Parent Square. We also have a method to pick up our meals this year, and I will make sure and post this on Parent Square as well. But you will just follow the signs as you do for all of the other drive-throughs that you do here on our campus. And you will be stopped and your people will be asked their names, and we will have numerous lists, and they will then pull forward and we will give them their meal. Please make sure that you or whomever is picking up your meals, they do not get out of the car. They must remain in their car on campus at all times. Moving on to homecoming and prom. So we're very excited to have one of our first big on-campus events, and that is homecoming. And within homecoming, homecoming week is April 26th through the 30th. And our homecoming theme is soaring through the decades. There have been and there will continue to be, or I should say there will be, daily advisory announcements. There will also be election videos, and there will be class games. On April 20th, there will be a backwards homecoming parade. There will also be an election showcase and royalty row. We will also have movie tickets that will be picked up at the parade, because that is one of the events that we are having for homecoming, is a movie night for our students and families on campus. That movie night is April 30th, quad, and that will also incorporate the royalty showcase on the top 10. And then the homecoming royalty will be crowned that evening. On April 30th for the movie night, it will be once again in the large quad, and that will be between the Ag building and the 500s building. The gates will open at 7 o'clock. The royalty will be announced for their royalty showcase at 7:30, and the movie will start at 8:30. Please make sure you bring your movie ticket, and you will receive wristbands that evening showing you where you and your group will be sitting. Ticket sales, we are only allowed based on the CDC county guidelines to, and I keep saying CDC, but it's just the county guidelines, to limit our ticket sales to 250 tickets. So tickets opened up today for juniors and seniors, the 14th through the 18th, and then sale will open for all grade levels April 19th through the 25th. And I believe, yes, tickets are available to LRHS students only. So it is a family-friendly event, but please note that meaning that the movies will be appropriate. So, and April 19th, once again, to the 25th, all grade levels. Okay, now prom, ladies and gentlemen, which I have to say I am so excited about. I can't even tell you. So our prom event this year, we're very excited that we're able to have a prom for our students. Now, prom is going to be May 22nd. We'll also be in the large quad, which is the same one that the movie will be in. And the theme for the event is A Night Under the Stars and the Hawk Choice Awards, or Choice Awards. Prom will be from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Gates will open at 7:30, and the students must arrive by roughly 8:30. That's our tentative close the gate time. We're going to get started. Single tickets are $50 per person, and they are only sold as single tickets. They are not sold as couples, and I'll explain that in a moment. Your $50 will include a night of professional entertainment. We will have lovely, very fancy desserts. We will have unlimited sodas, waters. We also are going to have personal swag bags for the kids. There are free prizes for our students as well. And we also are going to have our famous coffee truck there. So all of that will be included in the price of the ticket. Ticket sales opened today for our seniors, and it is only—
Oh, can you come here for a second?
I'm sorry, it's only for LRHS students. So please be aware of that. Unfortunately, we cannot have other off-campus students coming. And I've also had students that have said, well, my girlfriend is a sophomore, can she come? Unfortunately, because of our limited number of ticket sales, we have to limit it to seniors and then juniors. And the reason for that, obviously, is because this is a prom event, but this is really a senior event. And so we are also opening it up to the juniors after 3 weeks of ticket sales. So tickets went on sale today for our seniors, and it goes through April 30th for seniors only. After April 30th, we are inviting juniors to purchase tickets if there are still tickets left. And the cost will help put on the event from the ground up. Plus, it is also to try to support the junior class. This year's junior class, it is their fundraiser, although it is a senior activity, because they don't have a prom to put on to have money for them for next year. So that is what we're doing. We're raising the prom money will go towards supplementing the prom itself as well as junior class. Okay, I'm going to stop and ask if anybody has questions for anything up to this point. I have a number of, including cap and gown, senior week activities, as well as a few other things. But if you have any questions on prom, I'd like to take those questions now, just so I can get through those. If you have a question, down on the bottom, if you would click on the reactions button and raise your hand, I would be happy to call on you. Come up with another question later, I will come back to it. So it looks like everybody is pretty okay with prom. Let's go ahead and move on to our cap and gown distribution. The cap and gown distribution drive-through, once again, will be Monday, the 11th of o'clock in front of the administration building. If you have ordered your announcements, please have your students check in the front office with Mrs. Snow, as we have attempted to distribute the orders that we have received, but some of the students are not coming up when we send them the notes. We think they think they're in trouble, but they're really not in trouble. We just have announcements for them or other things that have been ordered. The cap and gowns, once again, have been or have not been distributed. Those are not even in our possession yet. We will not be receiving those on campus until probably the week before the distribution date of the 11th. So probably not until the 4th or the 5th. We also have a number of senior wear items that have not been picked up. The most recent senior wear order that went in right before spring break has been delivered. So it is on campus. If your child did order a senior sweatshirt or a senior t-shirt or one of the Hawk hats from the senior fundraising, please see Mrs. Snow in the front office and she will distribute that to your child. If your child is a distant, we can set up a time and you can come in during regular hours to pick those up from Mrs. Snow. Okay. All right. Senior week events. I will be announcing these to the seniors at the senior class meeting on Monday, April 26th at 10 o'clock. But I will give you more information about those on May 12th at our parents meeting that we are having at 6:30. I will, however, tell you about one of our that we do have planned that we are tentatively crossing our fingers, hoping it can occur. We are going to be doing the backwards parade, just as we did last year for the seniors. That is tentatively scheduled for the first week of June. I will give you that information at our next meeting. That will be students signing up on Parent Square. If they're interested in participating, we're going to have you pretty much make it your own thing, that you're going to decorate your yards. The kids will stand out in their cap and gowns. We'll have staff members and community members that will drive by and wave at your student and celebrate your student the best way that we possibly can at that point. But I will give more information to you as time gets closer and at our May 12th meeting. Okay. Do you have any questions for me, ladies and gentlemen, before I turn the time over to Mr. Saramago about graduation? Because I know that's what you're all here for. Okay, no questions. Mr. Saramago, if you wanted to go ahead, I will turn the time over to you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for being here, both students and parents. I appreciate your attendance. And I know this has been a rough year and a half for all of us. And I just thank you for hanging in there and overcoming this all. You know, obviously it's none of our doing, and it's just something that occurred, and hopefully it doesn't happen in any of our lifetimes going forward. So graduation. We originally scheduled graduation for June 8th. I think most of you know, with Memorial Auditorium is the date that we were able to get. Some of you, I'm sure, have been there. It's a beautiful facility, wonderful place to have graduation. Unfortunately, right now, we're really on hold as far as any information from them as to whether or not we would be able to have graduation based on the seating capacity and the current orders from the governor, et cetera, et cetera. So as we sit right now, June 8th is not an option. I did get some good news today. Memorial called and said that if we would like to have it on June 15th, that we will, they're 90% sure we will be able to do that based on stating that he's going to lift the stay-at-home orders and the restrictions on the 15th. So option one would be that we wait till the 15th, which is a Tuesday. It is a a week later than what we originally had planned. So that's one option. And at the end of me explaining my options, we are going to do a little survey to kind of gauge the interest of the group here and see what we're more interested in. Not saying that that's what we're going to go with, but I do want to get a feel for what you are all thinking. The other option would be to do something on campus. Now, with that, we are still bound by we're limited on the number of people that could be here, same as the movie night and the prom event that we just described. That's why it's capped at 250. There's a formula that they have of how you figure out how many you can have in an event. One of the options that Ms. Schroeder and I have talked about is that if we were to do mini ceremonies and break the kids up into groups of, say, 25, there's about 250 graduates. I know this isn't ideal, but I think this is a better option than something virtual where parents can't be there at all. And the idea would be that we would use the cafeteria as a staging area where we would have the next group of graduates there with their parents. And this would be limited to just parents, unfortunately. The gym would be used for our mini ceremonies. We would run them on the 5th of June, a Saturday. Start the first one at 10 in the morning, and just every 30 minutes run a different group through. It wouldn't be obviously as extensive as as we would do at Memorial, but it would be a modified version of that. But we would be able to present the diploma, have some picture opportunities, and then that group would exit out of the gym, and we would have the next group staged and ready, bring them over from the cafeteria, have the parents come in, play pomp and circumstance, have the graduates walk in, sit down, etc. That is really our two options. I know many of you, before you ask me, are going to bring up the stadium. Even with the stadium, we're still going to be limited on the number of people that can be there, but there's a lot of other problems that go along with doing it outside. And I have been doing this for a lot of years, and including back at Galt High School when we did it outside. You have weather issues. It could be very hot. It could be very windy. There's lots of factors that go in. We couldn't put everybody in there anyway. The track and field would be an issue with putting chairs on that. So there's lots of obstacles that people bring that up to me all the time. And that's just it really just isn't a viable option for us. Even the gym idea, though, I have to tell you, to be honest with you right now, there are still some guidelines that make it problematic, and one of them is they want to see a 2-hour window in between ceremonies. Well, obviously we can't do that. So that idea would require us to submit a plan to the county and ask them to approve that plan. I believe there's a strong possibility they would approve it, because it would include our commitment to spray down the area in between each ceremony and have people enter one door and exit a different door. You would be amazed at what the county health department wants to see in order to do any events. I won't bore you all with all of that, but I just want you to know they're very thorough and very extensive. And I guess regardless of how you feel about that, it is what it is. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I will tell you, and I'm not trying to sway anyone's opinion, I personally would like to see everybody together, on the 15th at Memorial. I think it's been a tough year and a half, and I think that it would be nice to have everybody together in a celebration, with all the parents, etc. It wasn't too many years ago that my kids graduated, and I know how special this moment is to all of you. And I just want you to know that we're 100% committed to whatever we do. It's going to be good. We're going to go all out, and we're going to do the best we can to provide the best experience we could. Some of you probably saw what we did last year. We'd rather not do that again this year. That was a tremendous amount of work, but not because of that, but we want to do something different. And we really are hoping that we'll be able to have a full ceremony. But I also know that many people may have planned vacations. That could be problematic waiting until the 15th. So I am aware of that also. So that's why, and literally this just happened today, this opportunity. So Ms. Schroeder is gonna, I think we're gonna do, hopefully we're gonna do a little survey here. And which one is option 1 on your survey, Angela? Okay, so the Saturday, so option 1 would be on a Saturday, multiple mini ceremonies. We would try to give the students an opportunity to choose their groups so they could be, with their friends as best we could. But that will be challenging, but we would do it in that fashion if we were to choose that. The other option would be we wait until the 15th. Memorial told me today they believe we'll be able to go full capacity and have everybody there on the 15th. Now, that's not a promise. Of course, things could change. It's always possible that the numbers start going back up. I hope that's not the case. And we're unable to do that. But as of right now, where we sit, this is the best information that I can give you. So I would like to just, if everybody could click on that, could click on what they think would be their choice if those 2 options were presented to us. Again, no promises that whatever the majority is, that's what we're going to do. I just want to kind of get a flavor of the group here and see what your thoughts are. And then I will certainly try to answer any questions that you might have after that. So if we could just go ahead and vote and submit, and then we can share the results, I think right now, and see kind of where we're at. And then I'll answer any questions that anyone might have.
Sorry, Joe, people are still voting, so the results aren't clear
Okay.
yet. But I do have a question. Mrs. Betancourt, Thomas's mom, has her hand up. So if you had a question, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes. Okay. Concerning, obviously, I would like to see my son graduate with all of his peers. I'm sorry, I'm going to get really emotional here.
Okay.
It's okay, because I started to get emotional. Just
No,
thinking
because
about
I'm like,
graduation.
really?
I understand.
Okay. I mean, these kids have busted their butts. And to me, I'm sorry, I know that my opinion is on the minority, but to me, I understand that this virus is real. I had it myself. I have recovered. I understand. Members of my family, I understand. But to me, it's been what, we're going to live our lives like this. Another class not getting a graduation ceremony, that, I mean, it's ridiculous. It is I feel that it's absolutely ridiculous, because you tell me you can go into a restaurant and eat and sit, but our kids can't sit next to each other at a graduation ceremony. That doesn't make any sense. Common sense is out the window. And on the 15th, okay, so the 8th is not, it's not an option anymore. Okay, so now they say the 15th. Okay, so what if we bypass this on the weekend, and then the 15th comes and they say, sorry, we can't do that until the following Tuesday. So here we are again. Invitations have been sent out with the 8th on it, because that is the tentative day that we were given. We've already sent out our invitations for a party and everything. So the 15th just blows everything out of the water. Obviously, that is not the option that I like, because everything's already put in place.
Mm-hmm.
It's very frustrating, and I'm not blaming you guys. I understand you have to follow guidelines, but I'm just saying common sense in this state has gone. It's gone. It's gone.
Mrs. Betancourt, you will, and Ms. Schroeder probably laugh. I'm going to be careful what I say, because we agree 100%. In my opinion, school should have never even been closed. I've been at work every day, and I just think it was ridiculous. So I don't disagree with you. However, I also want to say, for those that feel opposite, I respect your opinion.
I do too.
We've lost loved ones, some of us, and it's just a terrible.
I have too.
Yeah, so I'm so sorry that we're in the circumstance, and I appreciate you saying that.
I'm sorry, I just had to vent.
No, it's okay. And I vent a lot too here. And again, Ms. She hears it. We could go round and round about how we all feel, but the bottom line is this: we got to play by the rules that they lay out. We're a public school that's funded with federal and state dollars. So if I could do what I wanted, we would be there on the 8th full bore. but we can't. So to answer I would not, we're going to make a decision sometime in May, really. And if Memorial continues to waffle, then we're going to probably just do something here on campus the best we can, because I'm not going to just go on the hope that we can do it on the 15th and then they tell me no on the 14th and, oh, too bad, guys. I would never do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to need to get a firm answer from them,
I understand, and I totally understand where you guys are coming from. And but here I go again. But with this governor, you never know.
Yeah.
He could change his mind in a New York minute, and that's my thing is, my opinion is, if we can do something, I know you guys are probably trying to hear me talk. If we can do something within the guidelines, I know you have to follow. And if he changes his mind, that it's not going to affect the ceremony. So no matter what, there is something in place that can be done. That doesn't matter if he wish-washes and changes it or whatever, because if the 15th comes, he doesn't release the guidelines like he said he was. Or the stadium, says, well, I'm sorry, we can't do this or that or the other thing. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And thank you. And we totally agree with you on many of those issues. And thank you so much. And
Yep.
a lot of parents feel this way. This is your child. This is your child's graduation. And as Mr. Saramago said, we're doing everything we can to stay within the guidelines that we're given, because we don't want to be in the middle of a ceremony and we get shut down. That's another issue that we're concerned about with last year with our senior event was we have to follow these guidelines so closely, whether we agree with them or not. There's still the guidelines that we're given. We obviously and for sure have a backup plan. And Mr. Saramago and I have been working nonstop on this, and there are other staff members also. And as Mr. Saramago said, we are not going to allow your children to graduate without being recognized, whether it's at the Memorial Auditorium or whether it is at Liberty Ranch High School. And if the choice is made to have it at the Memorial Auditorium and something happens where it is closed down again, you can bet that we will have it on campus. It might not look the way it looked that we were planning on it at the Memorial. And if we do have to have numerous mini graduations, we will have those mini graduations to get your child the recognition that they deserve. Joe, I'm sorry.
And I just want to say too, that I understand how you feel about the governor, but he has said publicly that June 15th, he's lifting the order. I think with the recall looming, that there's a far less of a chance that he's going to go back on that. But again, rest assured that I am not going to just go on the hope that date's, if we decide to go that route, that's gonna fly. If I don't feel very confident by the end of April, early May that it's a go, then we're gonna focus on plan B if that's the way we decide to go. Angela, do you have did we get results just out of curiosity or no?
Sorry. Yes, I don't know if you can see it. Remember, I tried to share it with you last time, Joe, and I couldn't see it. As of right now, and these are just the parents that are in this meeting that voted, because we do have parents that obviously are still texting me right now that they're not able to get in or messaging me. As of right now, June 5th is at 28% and June 15th is at 72% of those that have voted. Excuse me, 65% of people have voted, but a lot of people that have called in on their phones are unable to vote. So,
and I just want to be clear to everybody, please do not leave tonight thinking, oh, Mr. Saramago took a vote and that's the decision. All I'm doing is trying to gauge your interest, so that'll guide me in the right direction is really all I'm trying to do. So does anyone else have questions? I'm sure there's probably others.
Mrs. Shamhart has a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, so I asked it in the chat. I said, if it is on 6/15, is it going to be parents only, or would there be allowed additional guests? And Mrs. Schro, Mama Schro, she said family included. I don't know if you had any info on like what they were saying as far as like how many people each graduate could have.
They told me full capacity. So that would mean, 8 to 10, maybe even 12 tickets apiece.
Thank you.
I believe in giving the maximum out we can and getting as many people, to come and celebrate as we possibly. That's how we've always done it. And that's how I would like to do it here. They told me that they believe that restriction will be lifted on the 15th and that we would be able to again, go capacity. So that's what they're saying. And to me, again, I'm not trying to sway anybody. I like that option the best, but I also am apprehensive because I have the same concerns you do. I don't want to get, end up, give them changing it at the last minute, but okay.
Mr. Saramago, I'll also bring up, if we do it at the Memorial Auditorium, or if we do it here on campus, I just want to say that I know that the governor has said he's going to open the state, but as we were talking, Mr. Saramago, earlier in your office, we are certain that there will most likely still be masks. So please don't come to the Memorial Auditorium and we ask you to have a mask on and people are upset about that, or come on campus and they get upset about masks. So please be aware that that's something we're probably still going to have to follow guideline wise.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Because guess what? I don't want to wear a mask either. I feel the same as all of you, but we got to. I have to do it. I have to set an example for the students that this is what we're asked to do, and we just do it whether we agree or disagree. In this case, this is a way of getting us back to school. I see another hand up for Jordan Basabi.
Hi, this is Julie Basabi. I have a couple of questions, so if you could bear with me.
Sure.
Can I confirm the last day of school is June 2nd?
Let me just look real quick. I think that's
It's what's on the calendar.
yes, that is correct.
Okay.
I have the 3rd down. Is that what you have, Angela?
I have down the 3rd and the 4th is a teacher work day, but
Yeah.
I was going to extend senior activities that week. And so we were going to have an activity on the 4th for the seniors.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And that actually was one of my other questions. I know you said that that's coming more on May 12th, but just trying to figure out, I'm planning kind of, some of the kids' own festivities as far as, the dinner cruise they're not going to get, and the safe and sober night and the Disney trip and all of that. So I'm trying to figure that out myself. And I just wanted to see if there are other senior activities that will occupy some of those dates, so I make sure that those are free.
I will tell you right now, I don't want to give anything away for the kids, but I will tell you that week, so fair is that Monday. So all of our Aggies are at fair, but on Tuesday through Friday, each night I have an activity planned for the kiddos. We have something planned for the seniors every night that week.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then our announcements, I can't remember, were they printed with the June 8th date because that's what we had, or were those left open?
I would have to go back and check my email with Carlos at Herf Jones. I think that there are some parents that might have picked up their announcements today. If anybody has those and wants to chime in, I would appreciate it. But I don't recall, because I think that was one of the big confusions or questions that I had with our Herf Jones guy. And I want to say even maybe just said June 2021. The invitation does say June 8th. I just got it in the chat. Thank you, Sauter family. So it does say June 8th. So I can pass out some whiteout if anybody wants that.
Okay, and then my last question, is there going to be a graduation practice?
Good question. There will be some form of practice depending on where our graduation is going to be. And I will be able to, I'll talk about that more by May 12th, because I want to see where we're at to see what kind of practice I have to plan. Because for each graduation, I would have very different practices that I would have to plan for the kiddos.
One other thing I wanted to say too, for seniors, that May 28th, their last academic day, that last week for all the rest of the kids that'll be coming to school, it's really the seniors will have activities or other things to do. They won't, but they're academically, they'll finish May 28th. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions that anyone had for us?
Okay, well, I thank everyone.
Mr. Schroeder, sorry, this is Mrs. Kinsey. First, I just want to say thank you for everything you're doing for the seniors. It's just been amazing for you, Mrs. Schroeder. I know you care about them very much. But I just had a question, and I'm sorry if I missed it. Can they take their picture without the mask?
I apologize. You asked that in the chat and I was going to say something.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. Well, honestly, it just depends on the dates and the location. That's something that Mr. Saramago and I need to talk about. And I think at the next parents meeting, if we can address that question then, and we can kind of see where we're at. I don't want to say something now, and I'm sure Mr. Saramago feels the same way. As much as we would love to say yes for that, I think we need to kind of wait and see where we're at and talk about it at that point.
But now, when you say a picture, are we talking individually or a class picture?
No, like when they go up and they get their diploma, and I think, don't they usually take pictures sometimes there?
Yeah,
That's
they
Oh,
do.
Life Touch.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
am gonna go out on a limb and say, absolutely. If they come and get me, if it's
Okay.
too much.
Well,
he's
we
the
will be
boss,
right there
I'm not,
behind
so.
you if they come and get you. We will be
Yeah.
right there supporting you.
Yeah, take the mask. And we want a picture of them with there.
Without the, yes. I'm sorry.
Now,
I
they
thought
might
you
want
meant
to take
like-
one with it too, just to remember how
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
this all was. But absolutely, they will be able to take a picture without their mask for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Well, but he can say that because he's the boss. I'm not the boss. I just think I'm the boss, but I'm not the boss. I do want to say there is a question in the chat that's come up. Why only these options on the dates? Why can we have no other options on dates? So the 8th, our original date, we cannot have, we cannot do a single ceremony. The Memorial Auditorium will not open up until the 15th of June, tentative opening date, because that is the date that the governor has said that the state will be open. So we are limited to the Memorial Auditorium on the 15th at the earliest. The 5th of June instead of June 8th was because of, Mr. Saramago, did you want to take that one?
Yeah, just it's a Saturday, and I just think that a Saturday would be more conducive to having, various ceremonies and people being off of work, make it a little easier. I know that the 8th was at noon and the 15th would be at noon too, but it was an all-day thing. I thought a Saturday would be appropriate. The 15th, just so you know, that we will be the first graduation at Memorial. I mean, we have hounded them for the last month, and they know. And I said, I asked them to switch it. Can we do it the 15th if the governor's going to lift? And they actually called back today and said, yeah, we're going to give you that date. So we were able to get the very first. I think Galt has the 16th or 19th. I don't know what they're going to do, but they have that option as well. So that's why the 15th is the first day that the California restriction order will be lifted. And at least that's what they tell us. And again, I feel kind of confident about that, given the recall. I think that's a motivator to not go against that. So that's why those dates were picked. I guess we could entertain others, but I don't know what that would be. I mean, so I felt like that was a Saturday and then of course the first day that we could get into Memorial.
Mr. Saramago, I've got a couple of questions coming in through the chat directly to me, and I have a couple also on Parent Square. The one on Parent Square is in regards to the stadium. They don't understand why we can have football games in the stadium, but we cannot have the graduation in the stadium.
Okay, I can answer that. Because somebody filed a lawsuit in San Diego County and won, and they made special rules for sports. It's not fair. It's not right. I agree with you 100%, but that's the true answer. So they came up with specific guidelines for every sport, which sports had to be tested. For example, we're testing every volleyball player, every football player, every soccer player, every wrestler, every basketball player, every Monday, because those are high contact sports or they're indoors. The outdoor sports that aren't deemed high contact sports, you don't have to test. And so they have guidelines for all of these things. Does it make sense? No, but we have to follow them. And that's the honest, best answer that I can give you for that.
I think in addition, also, Mr. Saramago, if I may, you mentioned the weather. I know that, and people also in the chat have said, or on Parent Square have said, the weather doesn't matter. We can deal with the weather. And I think that for some people that's true, but having done graduations at Galt High School when I was the senior advisor as well, there were some graduations that it was raining and windy, and there were some graduations that it was 107 degrees outside. Also, I'd like to mention that on the turf, it's always 10 to 15 degrees hotter. So that would also increase. In addition to that, we're in aluminum chairs or aluminum benches, and you might get lucky and get the 9 o'clock slot for your graduation out on the stadium. But then there's also those that are going to get the 5 o'clock slot or the 7 o'clock slot. And there's just too many things, and we don't have bathrooms and just too many things to list.
Remember, we would still be bound if it was, assuming it was before the 15th, we would still be bound by the limited in capacity, et cetera. So as Ms. Schroeder said, it would require several ceremonies. And to me, if we're going to do several, I would rather be in an air conditioning building with my next group of parents and students in an air conditioning building and the cafeteria, and then come over and we just repeat that process and get through it all. And we could film, we'll film every mini group if that's the way we go, so that other people could view it later. And I too, I don't want to sit here and tell stories, but I remember running over to Save Mart and buying every case of water they had and passing them out because we had some elderly people that were fainting. It was just so hot there. I know it's hard to imagine that right now, but trust me, it can be miserable, and it could also be very pleasant. We could get lucky and it'd be very pleasant. But to me, if we're going to do it on campus and mini ceremonies, to me, I would rather be indoors where I know we can control the conditions, opposed to outdoors where it's a crapshoot, and it could rain. It's happened before. It's very unlikely, but it is possible. So that's the reason why.
Mr. Saramago, I had another chat, and there's a few in there that I will mention something about prom, et cetera. I'll get back to, but the question was, this is about the kids. What do the kids want? And it's important to note that the kids want a ceremony. The kids want to graduate, and our focus is to make sure they get a ceremony and to make it the best ceremony possible. And having done this for so long, we know what we're doing, and we just ask you to please have faith in what we're trying to provide for your children. Please don't think that if we do it in the gym, it's just going to look like a gym. Mama Show doesn't play that. We're not going to just have some, a couple of balloons from Rayleigh's floating. This isn't your elementary school graduation. We're going to go big because that's what they deserve. So it will be over the top amazing. So please note that we have really just been battering our heads against the wall with these restrictions and these guidelines. Sorry. We will do everything we can to make this event something that your children will remember, and really something that you will remember, because your precious little angels 5 years from now might not remember this graduation 10 years from now, but you will. And I promise you that it will be memorable. In a bad way. I give you my word. And if not, I will make you all chocolate chip cookies if you think it sucks. I'll make chocolate chip cookies. There you go. I also have a question on here about prom. So I'm going to jump to prom, and then I'll go back down the chats and I'll look at a few other questions. Can the kids dance at prom? Can they wear formal attire? Unfortunately, the students are not allowed to dance at prom, not because we don't want them to, but because that's part of the restrictions. However, that is why it is a night of entertainment. It is going to be the most spectacular show that we can possibly give them. It is not Mama Shro doing karaoke. It is not Mr. Saramago, making butterfly puppets up on the wall. I'm sure you're great at that, Mr. Mago, but it is going to be a fantastic, phenomenal, mind-blowing event. So I really encourage you to have your kids come. Please have them dress up. It is a gala award ceremony. It is the night of stars. We want your kids to go out and buy formals or rent formals. We want them to go out to dinner beforehand. This is their prom. Just because there's no dancing doesn't mean it's not a prom.
Is it, Becca will probably kill me if I give away any secrets. So I won't get specific, but they ran across me today and I was blown away. So, which isn't a surprise because, like Ms. Schroeder said, we're not gonna we're not going to throw some just nonsense out and say, oh, see you later. I hope everybody has seen, if any of you came last year, what we were able to do and to other graduations, I think everyone would know that that's not how we do business, and we will not do that this year. We will do the absolute best we can to provide the best experience possible, just as I would if it was my own kids. I promise you that. And we do that every year, and this year will be no different.
No different, no different. Thank you, Mr. Saramago. I appreciate that. So yes, the time is at 8 o'clock instead of earlier because we want your kids to go out and have that prom experience. And some of you might even, if you've ever popped over to prom or you remember your own prom, there's a lot of people that aren't dancing. They're just sitting around talking. So it is a prom experience because some people are just going to be sitting there and not dancing anyway. There won't be dancing, but there's going to be amazing entertainment. Let's see. We answered that one. We answered that question. Okay. Will the senior awards be virtual this year? Yes, from what I understand, Mr. Saramago, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, it's just, I wish that we, again, with the restrictions and the limit to I mean, if we were to do it in person, it would have to be like one parent and outside. And I just can't see, I think, sure went pretty well. It was virtual, but we did a nice PowerPoint with it. The other thing is there's so many presenters of the different scholarships. It just would make it nearly impossible, really impossible to be inside. We couldn't do it inside. We'd have to be outside, and it would be so limited that I just don't think it would do its justice. So we've decided that we're going to do that virtually.
Thank you, Mr. Saramago. Another question was, will the students be going back to their elementary schools as they have done in the past with a senior walk? Unfortunately, we cannot do the senior walk as we have done it in the past. And please note, I know your kids are missing out on a lot, and every time I tell you no, it hurts me. So I apologize, but I have something up my sleeve I'm working on. So please bear with me on that. We're doing our best to try to make this spectacular in one form or another. They are not going to physically go to their elementary schools. They're not able to, but we are working on something else to supplement that experience for them. I have a question. Can I repeat the information about the yards decorated? Yes, we are going to do a backwards parade June 4th. More information will follow at our next parents meeting on May 12th at 6:30, where you are just going to have your front yard decorated, and we're going to have staff members and community members come around and wave at your kids and honk their horns and throw candy at them or whatever you want us to do. Parents will be notified of the definitive date of graduation once again, the middle of May, most likely at our parents meeting on May 12th. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that.
I agree, yes.
Do the students receive their cords when we pick up our cap and gowns? That is something that Miss Dennis is working on. Those orders come in separately, so we will most likely get those to the kids before graduation, but not when they pick up their cap and gowns. If that changes, I will let you know. I will go out on I will go on Parent Square. Another question, when will we find out specifically about graduation? If we have to change dates of trips and vacations, we do need time to do so. So once again, that will be on May 12th. Do we need parent helpers? Possibly. Please keep your focus on Parent Square. I'll be sending information out. The only way that we can have parents on campus, however, is if they are fingerprinted and fully vaccinated. And that is based on, once again, our current guidelines. So I will, if we need parents, I will definitely send out the information. I have another question. What if we don't live in Galt, but we still want to participate in the backwards parade? We had students last year in Wilton. We had students in Acampo. We had students in Thornton. We had students in Elk Grove. If you want to be a part of the backwards parade, we will have somebody come by and see you for sure. Awesome. I do have people that are letting me know they're vaccinated as well as fingerprinted. Thank you. I appreciate that. So when I send if I have volunteers, I will send that out for sure. So I appreciate that.
If I could just say really quickly, the vaccination piece is because if you're vaccinated and you volunteer, you don't count against the total number that we have in that venue. So that's why, that's what makes that an important piece. So if there are parents that are vaccinated and fingerprinted, that would be wonderful. If we need help, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that, Mr. Saramago. That is true. So our limit is with the guidelines right now are 250 people. And ironically, we have, I think, 247 plus seniors, so about 250 seniors. So that's one of the reasons that we're opening the prom, especially to seniors only. And we were lucky we can cap it at 250 because we want every single senior to go. So if they're able to, that is what we want. Mr. Saramago, we've got a couple of questions. Fingerprinted, does that mean fingerprinted for the high school district or the elementary school districts as well? Do we need to check on that?
It's the high school because we're a different district. And, but once you're fingerprinted with us, you know, if any issues were to come up that we need to know about, they automatically get sent to us. So, yes, it is separate but it is a one-time thing.
Okay. Another question. Will we have a fingerprint event on campus for parents to get fingerprinted?
We've had 2 already for sports, as many of you know, because we have to rely on parents to transport for athletics. If there's a significant number of people that need to do that, we can look into that. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Saramago. Are there any other questions? It looks like I got through, and I know there's some frustration in the chat with the dates, and I totally understand that, and I apologize about that. We love your kids, and I'm sorry that this has to happen to them. Let's see, I'm going through. I will say another question came up about dancing at prom. I will tell you that there's not going to be officially dancing at prom, but there might be a 7th inning stretch. So I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that with baseball season in the schedule right now in season. It appears that we have gotten through all of our questions in the chat, Mr. Saramago. Let me see, I have a couple more coming in. Good question. I do have a question from on the chat about vaccinations and attending graduation. As of right now, there is no requirement. Mr. Saramago can interrupt me if I'm wrong, but there is no requirement regarding vaccinations to attend either the memorial ceremony or the Liberty Ranch ceremony, either on our campus or at the auditorium. I do not believe that that is something that has even been talked about at the county level.
No.
Okay. So, yes, for sure. Any other questions that you have, we'd be happy to answer. Okay. Is there going to be a senior trip? Okay, so I am not able to plan a senior trip. There is no trip that is sponsored by our school, such as obviously Disneyland doesn't even open until April 30th. So there's no way for me to do fundraising for that and get everybody there. Because of all of the guidelines with transportation, we have racked our brains and we have done everything we could to try to figure out even a day trip for our kiddos. So instead of, once again, taking them somewhere, that is part of what the prom event is about. An experience, giving them an experience that we can't physically take them somewhere, but bringing an experience here on campus. I also have other things, once again, for that week of senior week, the 1st through the 4th. So there is no physical trip that I am planning for the seniors, but I do know that there are some trips that are not sponsored by the school that students are trying to put together, but I know nothing else other than that. So I can't.
Angela, could we, I just thought of something, I feel badly about, even though it's none of our faults, about the date being wrong. I wonder if they would be so kind as to create a small insert, like a business card that maybe with the correct date, once we firm it up, that we could give out to our families to include in their announcements. I don't know if that makes sense or not. My wife handled that when she sent our kids out, but maybe they've already gone out. I don't know how early those go out, but I'm just trying to think of something that we might be able to do to make that look a little nicer and, just reflect the.
Contact, yeah, I'll contact Carla at Herf Jones, our rep, and I'll see if they can't produce an insert for us once we finalize the date. Thank you, Jill. Good idea. And I also want to apologize because I've had people reach out to me and ask me about the 8th. Up a couple of weeks ago, are you sure it's the 8th? We're going to make plans. Are you sure it's the 8th? And I said, yes, it's the 8th. And I apologize because things change. And that's just kind of where we are at the last year. So I do understand. Once again, not sure if what date we are going to, if we are at the memorial or if we are on campus, but I promise you it will be an amazing experience for your children. So, in the chat, it says, it sounds like you have already planned for the 15th, and that is the decision. That is not correct.
No, not at all.
That is not correct at all. We are still waiting on other guidelines, and we're waiting for them to get back to us. And we're just here to promise you the best experience for your kiddos. So I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make one sound better than the other. Any other questions for us? There is a hand up. Mrs. Betancourt, please.
And so when will the decision be made? I'm sorry, I'm trying to write all this down. And we will be notified of which direction we're going. When was that decision going to be made, in the next couple of weeks or next month? Or I can't remember what you said.
Our next,
Well, we kind of informally said that the next meeting by May 12th, we really need to have it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I know that's, again, not what everyone wants to hear, but I am a very, I speak my mind, and I'm just being, so my opinion of having it on the 15th doesn't mean I'm not a dictator. I'm going to listen to what you all have to say, what the kids all have to say. And I promise you, if the majority feels that they would rather see us go in the other direction, I will go in that direction, if at all possible. So I would say, but I want to give it some time to see, to have a firm decision, so that everyone is informed. But I would say by the 12th, we're going to make a decision by that night. And if Memorial is still waffling, then we're going to move forward with doing it on campus, because that's going to take, obviously, planning, because we're planning anyway, but more serious planning and actually doing, I guess I should say. So.
are there any other questions? And if you think of questions after the fact and you want to message us on Parent Square or email us, Mr. Saramago and I would be happy to answer that. Mrs. Betancourt, do you have another question, or is your hand?
Sorry.
No,
I
that's
know
fine.
that as far as helping out, masks and vaccination needs to be done. Like I said, back in April, when it first started out, I was infected and I have recovered. Would that suffice if you needed me to help? And I have the documentation as far as a positive and a negative from a year ago, or
We would still have to talk to the district about that, because from what I understand it, we would have to see vaccinations.
okay.
I think if, not to get into anybody's situation, but just in general, from what I've heard, I think there's a 90-day period, and then you're back to possibly being, susceptible again. So, but I will double check with our school nurse. That's who I would, rely on for information, rather than the articles I've read about that. So thank you. That's a good point, though.
I just wondered. Okay, thank you.
I also have a question about speeches at graduation. What would the ceremony look like? Would there be speeches involved, etc.? To be very honest, it depends on what we are able to do and where we are having it. If it is on campus, at either on the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, whatever, before the 15th of June, we are still under the guidelines of we are very stringent guidelines. So there would probably be limited to no speeches. We would most likely have speeches pre-recorded, and we would have to make a compilation video of all of the mini ceremonies and splice it together. That's probably, in my estimation, what would have to happen, because with the guidelines that they've given us for our campus or in before the 15th, I will say before the 15th, we do have to have, as Mr. Saramago said, very stringent cleansing of the buildings, and as much, and you can tell how much I love your children. I do not want to spend 8 hours of my day in graduation ceremonies because it's exhausting. And there goes another one, go have fun at your graduation party. All right, let's bring in the next group, So we do also need to take into consideration that we have staff going to be volunteering to be there that day too. And so we are kind of trying to watch the program, but we won't have more information about program until it gets closer. Mr. Saramago, did you need to say anything or?
Yeah, but please don't think we're just going to call you into a room and read 25 names. Okay, bye, next. No, they'll be, you'll certainly get to hear me say a few words about how proud I am of all the students, et cetera. And so we will do the very best we can to make it as professionally and done that all of us could be proud of. So, and if it's at Memorial, it'll be a full-blown graduation with all the speeches and pomp and circumstance that goes along with that. And
if it's at before the 15th, it will be just a little bit smaller pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
Any other questions for us? Reminder that I am going to be posting this on Parent Square and on Facebook. So you can go back and look at it and answer any questions or refresh yourself on any questions. I will also be posting the dates, the upcoming dates for cap and gown distribution, as well as prom, as well as the next senior parents meeting, just so you have those and they don't get lost in the shuffle. If you have friends that are unable or have been unable to get on, please also let them know that I am going to be sending this out on Parent Square, and I will send that out as well. So if there are no other questions for us, we wanted to thank you so much for coming out this evening. We are doing the best that we can for your kiddos, and we will continue to do so until after they graduate. They can always come back. We're always hawks. So anything else, Mr. Saramago?
Oh, thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it. Feel free to email or call if you have any questions and an opinion or anything you think of afterwards. I'd love to hear it, and we want to consider everybody's feelings as we bring the plane in for a landing, as I like to tell the staff. We're going to bring this in for a smooth landing. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, and have a great night, everybody.
Thank you so much.